All right, y'all. Welcome to the next installment of the Dismount Podcast. And today we are discussing inner child. Would your 10-year-old self be proud today? All right, so they say all these crazy things about, life is an illusion. Everything that we're ever experiencing at every second is an illusion. Our memory, past, present, and future is all an illusion too. But we have pictures, we have memories, we have all these experiences that we've gone throughout this life and this experience of being a human that would argue that we actually do have an inner child. So today, the outline for this episode, do you feel like you have an inner child? Feel free to say no. We're not judging. If you could talk to your 5-year-old self for 20 seconds, what would you say? What is your earliest memory? Do you have any beliefs from childhood that are irrational, but you still hold on to today? Do you feel any moments in life where your childhood was sacrificed for a mission, a life purpose, or a higher purpose? What parts of your inner child do you still bring with you today? Good, bad, the ugly, all the in between. What do you got? What are you bringing to the table? For me, boom, boom, boom. We're starting right off fast. Do you have an inner child? And I believe yes. Yes, you do have an inner child. I am definitely way more in tune and online with the concept of like life actually is honestly just really a full illusion the entire time. But as far as the experiences that I've had and being able to sit here with a thumbnail that has 4 different images of me from 4 different time periods of my life, I would say, yes, I do have an inner child. I did experience those things as being small, as being, a little bit taller, and now 6 foot. But could all of those things be looked at so much differently? Yes, very easily. But for you guys, inner child, do you believe you have one?
I do. Also, that's the same person.
Oh, jeez.
I do believe I have an inner child, and I do believe everyone has an inner child. From kind of where I think the inspiration drew from this episode is about Carl Jung talking about parts of your subconscious that come out of your emotions, your gut reactions, and it's kind of like a projection. You're just walking along with the inner version of you, just making adult decisions, adult choices, and thinking like an adult, but you still have that little piece in you. For me, I would say it's like my sense of self and self-awareness from my childhood still remains there, but now it's my present form, making sense of those experiences and what I'm facing now. So I think it's present in everybody, but that's just my opinion.
Right on. Yeah.
You, Big D?
Yeah, I feel like it's there. I feel like it's something I have to actively reconnect with. It's not something that's always present in my life, but I feel like it's when I'm aligned with my inner child, I feel like I'm getting the most fulfillment out of my life because I'm being most genuine to myself. So like instead of being in the mindset of like greed or insecurity or I found myself in a lot of the survival instincts of life a lot of the time. So that hasn't allowed me to really dig into the authentic version of myself. So I guess like getting away more from that, but trying to find ways to get into like the curiosity and joy of a kid. And I think that's all still there for us. I think the tough part is, like we mentioned, the idea of those adult happenings occurring, whether it's, bills don't make you feel like a kid. That's like the complete opposite of getting, your PA turnpike tolls in the mail, and you're like, man, this is like the furthest thing away from being a Chuck E. Cheese as an 8-year-old is getting a PA turnpike toll in the mail. So like things like that kind of take it out of us, which stinks. But I feel like the more we can learn into like the curiosity and joy of a kid, like just waking up every day like it's the best day of your life, having the genuine curiosity through your life to continue to lean into things that you like or you're just interested in. A lot of that's like, oh man, I don't have time to be curious. And I think that's like, while it's still there, it's an active reconnection that needs to occur of like intentionally going like, oh cool, I want to lean back into those things, the things I know I love, the things I know that make me. I feel like that's a lot of the inner child, but the struggle is making time for that.
Yeah, the reconnecting, I definitely think is something that you have that opportunity at any point in time to finally say, like, no, I'm tapping back into this. Because I think of my dad, and I think of my dad in his 50s. And my dad has always been someone, like, even while I was growing up, even now watching my niece and nephew grow up, he's always been someone who's very into, like, toys or, like, cars or, just little kids, arguably little kid stuff. And now my dad is so deep on the Lego pop grind and just it's Legos galore. You go into his basement, he's selling Legos, he's doing it all. And you can see how much enjoyment he gets out of the Legos. And you know that that is something that is like, that's a little kid type of enjoyment. That's a new toy. That's the everlasting creativity and the wonder and the discovery of building something new or taking the puzzle pieces. And like, that's the coolest thing about Lego is you can take those puzzle pieces and constantly reconstruct them into something completely different. So like taking that as such a metaphor for like life and your existence of like, oh shit. Okay. So I got all these puzzle pieces of me that I've had growing up and now I'm 32 years old. All right, so now I have all these different aspects of me that I've either built out or I've noticed or I've realized or I've gone, wow, holy shit. I wasn't even completely aware that I was able to do that. Mm-hmm. So now I'm starting to be able to basically like arguably put together all my puzzle pieces into a coordination type of organization of going, okay, all these fit here, all these fit here, all these fit here. And to me, those would be different like life path avenues, career, life, family, goals, all your different things of like, okay, what puzzle pieces of me work for this? What puzzle pieces here? And then how do I take all those different puzzle pieces and build my one structure that is me, who I'm going to constantly portray as myself now. And this is who I want to become. So I'm taking all these different pieces. And that to me is where like, that's the inner child of being able to say, oh, I'm now best friends with Javier. And Javier's a made up imaginary friend from, I don't know, Guatemala. And you're like, dude, you live in New York City. Well, you're 5 years old. How do you even know about Guatemala? But you were a kid. You saw it one time on a world map walking through a history center, and that just pops into your head. And you're like, oh shit, I'm able to like pull information like that from my childhood. All right, now we need to sit here and do some like meditating and some awareness of like, who am I? Who have I become? Who do I want to become? And I think that's where like the reconnecting to your inner child of like, okay, I've now been bombarded by life with all of this shit. But look at all these badass pieces of me. Now I can build myself into who I want to be going forward and not feel like the world is rock'em, sock'em, bop'em. I'm getting just taken out by a little rock'em sock'em robots, dude. Just absolutely popping my head off.
Why is my head always popping? Why is the other guys? No, that's just life. Just cock. Yeah. No, I think like
Bills.
Yeah, Bills.
PA Turnpike.
Oh shit.
I'm laughing at the sound effects. Cock.
Oh, I'm sure you are. No, I think it's crazy because you mentioned like, okay, like who I was, who I am, and who I want to become. And my struggle is like probably just anything in life's a circle. You probably just want to get back to who you were. Like that's where I was, is like, why can't I just align with who I like purely am? So that was my thought process, is like, yeah, like who I want to become. It's probably back to the person I got beat out of and like in my like, teens, 20s, childhood, whatever it might be. So that was my thought process. And listen, you talk about your dad and have me thinking about imagination a lot. That's something I didn't consider until you just brought that up. But like, that's another really big focal point that just gets beat out of us. Like a lot of people like say when they become an adult, it's more logic-based thinking or more linear thinking. You go to school and everything's like, this equals that or whatever it might be. And you don't have much of an imagination anymore. So I think that's something I want to lean into more, is like try to figure out ways to become who I was, had that big imagination and not so much like logic thinking, because that's where I find a downfall in me. Is like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like, well, a lot of things when you're a kid doesn't make sense, and you still lean into them. What was the issue then? And, you probably get a lot more out of that. And, they say like with people who get into like art, like a musician, like it's best to do it as early as possible because you have all the time in the world, but also you're not thinking about like anything other than the purity of what you're experiencing. So like, cool, I'm just playing guitar just to play guitar or whatever it might be. And, now it's like, I don't have time for that, or I can't even think that. I have a million other things going on in my head that, it's interesting to try to still find those spaces where you can still be as pure as possible and enjoy things purely like you did as a kid.
I play guitar and I post a video, I get 5 views. He posts a video, he plays guitar, he gets 5 million views.
Yeah.
What is the difference here? I don't understand. And you're like that alone beats out that imagination of just like, well, because you're sitting there you're sitting there imagining, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna play for 5 million people. This is gonna be so cool. And then you post a video and you get 5, and you look at the guy who's playing just like you and he gets 5 million, and you're like, ah, shit. Fudge. And that beats, I think that alone, just the actually striving out there and trying to do for yourself could easily beat the living shit out of you. So being 32 years old now and turning around and looking back at your 5-year-old self, your 10-year-old self, 20 seconds. You're sitting down. You take your 10-year-old self to coffee. How's that conversation looking?
I don't know if my 10-year-old self would drink coffee. I don't know when the first coffee.
I feel like you were the bougie little iPhone coffee drinking
10-year-old child. I wasn't.
In
2002, I was a bougie coffee drinking iPhone child.
Also, fun fact for the audience, that is approximately the age that Derek and I met.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So I roll into 5th grade. Titties there. I got my frappe. Got my iPhone 3G. I walk in. Titty goes, sup. I'm like, screw you, dude. I'm going to go pee my pants. So, okay. So
the way you talked about your iPhone.
What?
The way you talked about your iPhone back in the day, I would have thought you would have had a Starbucks coffee with you.
Oh, that's unbelievable. What do you mean by that?
Hold up.
What?
The way he talked about his iPhone was, I was the coolest kid.
I was the coolest
kid on the block.
but that was in like high school. I don't think iPhones are
sophomore year, right?
Yeah, like sophomore year maybe. I don't know. And then I lost that iPhone, so my sister bought me a new one, and it was from like China. I think I brought that up.
Man.
It was like all iPhones are from China. Sorry, and then but the thought process was like someone made this in their like apartment.
Well, I forget. At 10 years old, we didn't have any of this stuff.
We didn't have cell phones at 10.
We didn't have
we are
any
old.
Of this stuff.
Sorry.
I wouldn't say we're old, but we definitely did not
there,
have
dude.
any of that stuff.
I might have had Virgin Mobile, maybe.
Virgin
the one where you got to pay $1 a minute.
Yeah. Oh man.
Prepaid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a glorified pager.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, yes.
Ted, you hang out with 10-year-old self. You're finger painting.
Okay. Still probably not what I'm doing at 10 years old, but again.
I
Okay.
had to.
Okay. So I sit down. 10-year-old self is playing Halo. Because that's probably what I'd be doing.
Okay, I was just waiting.
That sounds about right. It was Halo out in 2002.
Or shooting each other there, soft probably.
Oh, maybe that. Maybe shooting each other with guns. Yeah, great idea for a 10-year-old. So I think I would probably lean into telling myself that everything would work better than I could imagine, or everything would work out better than I could imagine, only because at that point, like, everything was so... It still was, and I brought this up previously, but, like, survival instinct, like, that was always there, so it was so real hard to see what the future would bring for me. So I think allowing myself and my younger self the space to breathe and dream and be a kid, because I feel like I lost a lot of that pretty quickly. I would just be reassuring in the sense of, like, hey, everything will work out even better than the way you could imagine. And then also to lean into being as kind as my heart wants me to be, because I feel like a lot of that would be something that I felt like got knocked out of myself too. Like I was like the sweetest kid, the kindest person. And not that I don't feel like I am still that today. It's just when you grow up, it's so easy to see the negatives in life or the negatives in people, or trying to understand what people are trying to get out of you. And that can be misaligning, I think. Because I feel like deep down inside, I do still want to give everybody a chance. I feel like everybody deserves a chance to, prove themselves to somebody. So I think that'd be the thought process, like just trying to, I know it'd be tough in 20 seconds, but I would probably take 10 hours to prep that conversation of like, what is the best thing I could say in 20 seconds. But the wholehearted effort would be to just like reaffirm like any doubts, any fears that I feel like I still had in myself at 32 and try to squash that beef as quickly as possible with the 10-year-old. So I think that'd be more leaning into just dream and understand that like the bigger your dream, the bigger your goals, the bigger your outcome. And then on top of that, just being as kind and genuine as you want yourself to be, because that's what's going to lead you into the things that you find that are the best in your life.
Not to change this, but I think this is something that I would love to share with the world. When you start to try to grow yourself and you start to reflect on and you're building your awareness on all the things that you've done through your life or what you've experienced and the people that were around you, when you start trying to change yourself and you start having those conversations and people ask you about like, oh, well, why did you get to this point and that point? And you now are trying to live your authentic truth. Like, for instance, this past week, I had a conversation with my mom. And like now, like with all of the, just everything with that I've tried to do with like the streaming and all that different stuff, like, my mom asked me the question, like, well, what do you really want to do with this? And I told her, honestly, I just really want to inspire. And I said, tough thing was, looking back, like through streaming, for instance, I said, Mom, like I only had a couple buddies who like would show up and like would put that on their, put that on their laptop and just leave the laptop go and just let it ride. I said, for instance, last week I was posting these videos of like these quick little things. I was trying to manifest financial freedom for myself and like getting out of my job. And I said, you called me freaking out. Like, did you quit your job? Did you do this? And I understand you concerned you care about me, but you didn't like any of the videos that you supposedly watched and that you didn't help you didn't help push them anywhere, and that's the thing. Like, you start to try to have those conversations with people about the things that like people who you love, who you care so much about, and having those conversations are so difficult of like speaking your authentic truth, of like saying like, this is how I felt. This is what I experienced through my life. I'm not like, understand that I'm 32 years old now and I have so much gratitude for where I'm at. But like to sit here and try to sugarcoat like what I went through would be to honestly strip it of all its importance.
Yeah.
Of all the significance of why we experienced that, why I went through that, why we went through that together. But I want to be able to talk about that stuff now and allow it to process itself and move on from it. And it's not an attack. It's just a speaking what we experience. And that's hard, dude.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I think a lot of like, okay, so you think about the podcast, and we've been talking a lot about, okay, like trying to will it into existence, believe it into something bigger than it currently is. And man, I just can identify a couple of times in my childhood where, like whether it's like my parents or like any people I saw as like, people I looked up to in my childhood, of like having interest in something and then like bringing it up and then them kind of just like giggling at my interest, or like, oh, that's funny. Like Derek wants to sing. Oh, that's so cute. I go, oh, dude, does singing make me lame? Like, I shouldn't do that anymore. And that stuff, like whether it wasn't intentional, it was just, it was mindlessly teasing or whatever, but like that shit does resonate. Like I feel like a lot of that stuff does resonate. So maybe I think towards the podcast and like maybe in the subconscious, it's, oh, this is silly, like this won't ever go anywhere, and that's because I was built on that belief system. And there's a lot of things that like obviously like any like my parents or people that are older in my life, like definitely saw like okay, he could be successful in this or that, but like when you start to dream, and man, it really does resonate with you if you just dream as a child and then someone goes like, oh, do you want to do this? Oh, that's so cute. Like, cute, dude? No, I don't want to be cute. I want to be good at this, or I want to go do this.
Badass.
Yeah, and like even a 10-year-old can still have like that want to, like my little sister is great at dancing, like she wants to be good at it. So and when you have a great support system around that, it's so much easier to flourish. And like these little like instances of negativity that pop up, like while they can seem innocent, really do hammer home and stick with you a lot longer than you might even imagine.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And that's something that is very challenging to be able to get past.
So for you to say like the things that happened in the past don't matter, oh, that's not truthful at all. That there's nothing to that. I think all that sticks with you, and unless you actively acknowledge it and then try to work past it, then it's just going to be back there holding you back throughout your life.
Yeah, like we talked about, one of those pieces in the backpack that you're just rolling around with.
Oh yeah, that
And
backpack.
it fell that's that piece of paper that fell all the way under, all the way down.
Oh yeah.
Underneath everything else. And you're
Yeah.
just like, where the hell is that piece of paper at? I know it's in here.
Even if you
gotta
go
take
looking for
everything
it,
out.
yeah, and you go looking for it, still can't find it. It's
Yep.
crumbled up in the bottom. God.
I'm a
So-
big folder person. That drives me crazy.
He's a big folder person.
Yeah.
20 seconds, you get to sit down with your 5-year-old, 10-year-old self. How's that conversation looking, Tit?
Probably sit down and talk to them and say, science is awesome. Fuck history. Just kidding. Start with the wars. Beginning of Europe, you'll be cool. I'd probably tell myself, you legitimately, I say that as a joke because I've always been good at science, and it took me a long time to be good at history. But like, it's a good example of like the yin and yang of your curiosity and your insecurity of like what childhood is. So I would tell myself, like, you legitimately can be and do anything you want to be. Don't obsess over it. Just get started. That's all you got to do. And for me as a kid, it was like, I grew up with 2 older brothers. I'm always behind. But now I'm not in a place in my head where I'm behind. But that would be really valuable for me to tell my younger self, because my brothers up to a certain age were always smarter and always stronger than me, no matter what. Until I could get to a certain age where we're on a even playing field. So I always felt like I was like dragged behind. So I just reassure my like 5-year-old self, like, hey, take your time. You only live once. This is all you got. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the process. It just gets started.
Yeah, I love that. And that's, I just kind of thought about that too without even, I think really considering myself as an adult, as a child. Like I dealt with that pretty quickly too. So if I had to go back and kind of rewrite anything that I would say to my past self, it would be trying to find the room to be a child when you're a child, because you're not going to get that back. I find myself still doing a lot of the same things my 10-year-old self was. So like going back and you know, reassuring and everything is great, but I also think the idea of telling them to like just find room to be a kid.
If I was to sit down with my 10-year-old self, I would first ask him, how in the Sam hell did you dress so fly and not give a shit what anybody thought of you? You were always dressing so legit, but you didn't give a shit if anybody noticed it or cared at all. But then all of a sudden, you turn 18 and one girl who you thought was your friend, who was one of your buddy's twins, tells you, damn, Zach, you have such a big head. And you lose your mind over that concept of thinking that you're this big-headed, egotistical turd. And you lose yourself in your 20s. And you care so much in your 20s about what people think about you and like your vision and all where you're going to go and your status and, oh, I got to become an engineer, got to become this, got to get this paycheck to be able to be this person, that you totally lost yourself until you were 28 years old. And dude, no regrets. No regrets, because we had a lot of fun through those years. But teach me because I need a reminder. I need to remember how to reconnect because I used to match my outfits from head to toe, dude. I had multiple pairs of shoes. The shoes had to match the outfit to the whole gig. Everything was sequenced, colors, like and I didn't give a shit what anybody thought of me back in the day. Then come high school and everything changed, dude. Everything changed. So like, dude, stay chill through high school, make everything grooving. But the one thing I will say to you, and this is something that I really would hammer home, I'd first ask him to teach me how to remember how to do that. But then I would tell him that every time you got an opportunity or there was something that you wanted so bad, you needed patience to wait for that opportunity to come. And when that opportunity came back around to you, take the fucking opportunity. Don't shun it like, oh, well, I wasn't good enough for you then, so fuck you now, basically. Perfect example was running back. When I playing Little League football, I was always the bigger kid. Never got an opportunity to play running back because of weight restrictions. Finally, last year, got an opportunity to play running back, and I told him, nah, fuck you guys. Why? You finally got your opportunity to do the thing that you had been wanting to do. You had worked so hard. You had stressed. You learned the playbook. You knew everything. And then because you finally got your opportunity, but because you struggled through all this shit, you were like, nah, fuck you guys. You guys don't get to experience what it would be like to experience me as a running back. What a dickhead thing.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that for you, man.
Running back's sick.
Yeah. You get to see people before they hit you. That's how I was wanted it.
But no, yeah, it would be ask him how to dress and how to basically be yourself and not care. Because through your 20s, you started just not caring, and it ended up turning into more like you looked like you were homeless versus like actually like organized chaos is what I would like to phrase it as. But no, yeah. How do you be that, but also like make sure that when your opportunities come that you manifested for yourself, you don't look them in the eyes and go, oh, I wasn't good enough for you back then, so I'm not going to be good enough for you now. That's stupid. You now got your opportunity. Take the opportunity, brother.
I like how you not only offered advice to your inner child, but you also asked your inner child for advice as well. That's kind of cool. Yeah. I didn't think of that angle.
I was like, dude, remind me, because what the hell, dude? Why was I so stressed in my in high school and in my 20s of like what everybody thought of me? Because I wasn't that person growing up.
Yeah. Oh man, I was in high school. Brandon was there the whole time, but I don't know what the thought process was in high school, and we're not going to dig too much into that because I think that doesn't align with the episode. But yeah, in grade school, I definitely went from not giving a shit to definitely giving a shit, and that transition is definitely the beginning of the downfall, I think, of being more focused on the energy people are throwing your way as opposed to the energy that you're putting out towards people. Because, if you just leaned into yourself, and I think of some of the authentic people that I even knew in high school, like those people who are most aligned with themselves and their true selves were the people that are like, oh, those are the coolest people. But I think there's something to be said about those kinds of people, because to be able to do that in high school is so tough. You're so worried about, every relationship. If you're worried about being the cool kid or being perceived as anything, that's not going to work at all.
Mm-mm.
It's just only going to get you further from the path. Those people that just were able to identify who they were and stick with it through that time are the true dogs of the high school world. And then they probably went on to never have to deal with those self-doubt conversations as they got older.
Oh, I would second that.
Yeah.
I would second that hard.
Yeah, the coolest kids were the kids who did not give a shit about being cool at all.
No, they didn't care whatsoever.
Yeah.
Earliest memories. They say that basically, I'm not going to put an actual direct statistic on this, but they say that the excessive majority of people cannot remember anything prior to age 4.
Yeah, there's this part where I I still don't know if it happened, but I'm pretty sure as a child I fell down every stair in my house. I don't know. Maybe it was a dream, but I remember doing that as like a 3-4-year-old, and I just can't really determine if it was real or not. I think I would have died. Dude, it was a big staircase. So
Wow.
So I thought of that, but I also think of like this time where I was in my parents, and this is probably around the 5-6 range, being around my parents after I was asleep in their room and like seeing like this like the like Wicked Witch of the West, like her face appear over the door of my parents' bedroom, just like and I just lost my fucking mind, sprinted downstairs, and my dad was there to comfort me. I also think of another instance of every time that I watched Barney when I was at home, my mom would be there. If she did not sing the song at the end of the episode, the I Love You song, I would cry like a little fucking bitch. I would lose my mind.
That's crazy because that's a psyop.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Could you want to expand on that?
No.
Okay, cool.
That's for our conspiracies episode.
Okay, cool. I can't wait to dig into how that was a psyop. That's terrific. So the things that stood out to me the most were like, okay, those are two instances where like I found myself like really upset over something, and I was so reassured by my parents with love and understanding, and like, you know, it wasn't about like, oh, you don't need to get upset over this. You know, this is silly. Like, no, like it didn't matter what it was. Like they reassured me with love. And I think a lot of my earliest memories where I always lean into like, man, like I dealt with so much as a child, but even in all the chaos of my life, I was still able to be surrounded by love the entire time. Like no matter what went wrong, no matter how hard things got, I was never not surrounded by love, which was huge for me because I still have that support system till today. So like, you know, going out to my uncles for holidays or being around my family for birthdays, or like those are things I remember very early on because those were great memories and it's so easy to cling on to that. But regardless of the situation, I found myself always surrounded by love no matter how hard things got. You know, the people that wanted to be there for me always were, and they still were, and I'm really lucky for that.
That's freaking amazing. And it's pretty wild that your potential first remembrance is falling down the stairs because that's mine.
Yeah.
I have two. I have one of like being like 3 years old, getting out of the bathtub at my grandma's house because we lived with my grandma at first. And it's funny because I grew up on Superior Street. Like my grandma lives on Superior Street. And like that was me. Like I feel like I was the most me when we were all inside that house together.
Yeah.
And then things changed whenever we left Superior Street and went to Sherwood. And it was like, oh, it's sure, we're going to be great.
Yeah.
You know? and I remember that was where like my life turned a massive change of like, I lost my best friend because we weren't in the same school anymore together. All these different things. But now I live on Superior Street. We're doing the podcast. I move on to Superior Street at 28. I become back to myself at 28. Just real weird like synchronicities that, you know, you link up. But I got two memories. One is coming out of my grandma's house in Carrick and walking out of her house and being real little and just boom, just taking a tumble on the first set of stairs because these are Pittsburgh city streets.
Oh.
We got multiple sets of stairs you got to go down to get back down to the street. Boom, cut my chin open right here. I can remember that. And then the other one is being at my other grandma's house and just running butt naked, just free after getting a.
I was gonna ask both of you real quick. Did you run around naked as a child?
Yes.
I don't remember.
I was like, oil me up, let me run around like a pig, dude. Like I'll do it for hours. I don't give a shit.
Yes.
Why don't I like run around naked anymore?
I love running. I would say that it would probably stem from just awkwardness. I don't know.
I don't like in my own house. I don't like being naked.
You don't like being naked?
I don't know what it is.
Oh shit, dude!
I feel like it's comfort. I like wearing clothes. It's comforting.
I like to get ready while naked. I think it's the best.
You like to?
I was shocked you kept all your clothes on yesterday when we were outside cleaning the bikes.
Oh, it was
like you
tough.
had your socks and shoes on
Yeah.
and I was like, Man, I'm stripping down. All I got left on is just a pair of shorts, dude. I was commando on
Exactly.
those shorts,
Ass
dude.
naked
I'm
outside.
like, God damn, it's hot out
Yeah.
here right now.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the shirt off or anything or socks or anything. I don't think I clipped my toenails. I think I got some winter toenails rolling right now, dude. Some freaking Arctic Thunder feet.
So is that well?
What?
So is that like you're self-conscious about those toenails?
I mean, I'd just rather not have my toenails extra long walking around. Like maybe, yeah. I mean, yeah. As much as A1B, it's not very proper to just walk around with extra long toenails. I understand you're my boy. I just didn't feel like flaunting my unkept toes.
Well, that's what I would say. That's why I'm digging into this.
Yeah.
Is because like, would 5-year-old you have given a fuck about those long ass toenails?
Nah, my mom would have cut my toenails for me. You want me to call her?
5-year-old Brandon can bite his
Hey,
toenails.
let me call my mom right now before I come out to work on the bikes. Clip my toenails for me, dude.
No, my mom would have made sure they were clipped.
But I don't know. Maybe that's, yeah, she would have, 100%. She would have took care of business for her. She probably still do it today if I asked. What a woman. Unbelievable. No, but I think the liberation of running around naked is something that, again, I don't. So why do you see, like, in movies, like, adults, like, oh, we're going skinny dipping or we're going to run around. I want to go streaking. Like, people go streaking at sporting events. Like, is that still like a feeling of liberation that people try to regain? Because I mean, I don't know. I used to run around butt naked at Thanksgiving, and now I won't stand in front of the mirror naked. So what the fuck is the issue?
You lost the rebel in you?
I don't know. I hope not.
I mean,
Yeah,
What
but
are
there's
you
a
thinking?
difference of, okay, we're taking time talking about why an adult can't be naked around human beings.
yeah, but that would lead me to the next question of: are
Yeah.
there any beliefs from your childhood that are irrational?
Yeah.
and we're on the perfect one.
Oh,
it
thank
wasn't
God.
irrational for me to run
Oh,
around butt
shit.
naked then, but now it's irrational for you to run around butt naked.
Yeah,
And
but
God
it's
said, "Who told you you were naked?"
oh man.
Boom.
Well, I don't know. The
Now the scripture's coming at you too.
That's a great point until I think of any freaking picture you ever seen of Adam and Eve when they have leaves all over their freaking tits and dicks and shit. So yeah, God didn't think it was a big deal until he animated Adam and Eve, and then he threw freaking pot leaves in front of them or whatever it is.
He didn't do that. They did. He
Okay,
made
well-
them naked.
Well, God made everything, so I guess he made that too.
He said, "Who told you anything was wrong with being naked?" Like, I don't know. This apple did.
Oh Jesus, blame it on the fruit, It's all the fruit.
Apple bottom.
It's all the fruit. Yeah, it's all the fruit's fault. Or who did they? Oh, I don't want to get into that. Anyway, so okay, so I mean, I guess it gets into like the thought process of okay. So first thing I was thinking of was the fear of things coming up behind me. Oh God, dude. Yeah. What?
Yeah, terrible.
But do you understand what I mean there?
100%.
Okay, so like if I was like down in the basement of my dad's house, I was doing the cat litter. I'm down in the basement by myself. It's kind of creepy. It's dark, I do the cat litter, and then like I turn off the light from downstairs. And I have to get up the stairs, and it's dark. I have to go up there and open the door. So the cat didn't come down because the cat didn't like when I did the litter box for some reason. He just rather shit on his own shit than have me clean it. So whatever, who cares? But as I would go up the stairs, there was just this haunting idea that there was always something going to come up behind me. And I still have that fear today. 100%. I don't.
So I would ask, do you think that when we were really young, like before we fully got programmed, we've talked about like the, turning 7 years old, and the old Jesuits said that give me a 7-year-old and I can show you the rest of their life because the programming is done by the time you're 7.
Okay.
So when you're prior to that age, that is when it's talked about that you can still see behind the veil. So there are opportunities as a young kid, to be able to like, when you're someone saying, this is my imaginary friend, Javier, maybe they're actually really seeing Javier, but Javier's not fully crossed over yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see dead people kind of situation.
A little different.
Like you can... No, it's
just kidding.
No, they say that it's not different because whenever your loved one passes away, if you're still mourning your loved ones, then they're stuck. They can't fully cross over.
Yeah.
So there's all these freaking souls that are just like kind of locked into here because those are the people that as a young kid you might be seeing.
Okay.
You might be able to see things that aren't just this metaphysical, body of representation of a human. So that's what I'm saying is getting a little bit older, you're still thinking about like when you were able to see those things and not be able to explain them to people. And now I'm like, well, fuck, what's coming up behind me?
Well, yeah, I give them energy, and now there's like, it comes in different forms probably too.
Yeah.
So like maybe it's not a scary monster, but it's probably like my taxes. Like it's stuff like that where it's like I think it stems back to pockets where I feel like anxious or like anxiety, and the anxiety 100% stems from the fear of the unknown, and the fear of the unknown stems from me finding myself in a day-to-day like, all right, what's next? Like, what's the next battle I'm going to have to take on, or what's coming down that I don't see yet? Like always in defense mode and never in like acceptance mode. And it's crazy to think like, okay, that's an irrational fear I had of like, no, there's nothing coming up behind me. No, nowadays I don't like if I'm walking down the street at night by myself, I'm not like, oh my God, like, is there something behind me? Is someone going to get me? Like that's what I felt like when I was 7, but not at this point. But I definitely still find myself in those pockets of, oh my God, did I pay off that? Or like, oh my God, is that coming next? Or whatever it might be. And it's funny to acknowledge that now, because once acknowledged, I can finally accept and move on. But I never would have stemmed like the thought of a scary monster attacking me into, the relationship I have with myself and the ideas of like, okay, cool. Like it's okay to feel myself, in the present moment, understand like I have a great support system. I have everything I need. I don't need to worry about, some scary monster getting me now.
Dude, I think that's very rational, because one of my earliest memories is of people breaking into the house.
Oh.
So given that we grew up a couple minutes away from each other, I think that's actually pretty rational.
Yeah, 100%. I've definitely had people break into my house before, so been there, done that.
So, I mean, that's a pretty rational belief. And given you are, probably about like 5 minutes away from where your first house was?
Yeah.
Still rational belief.
Yeah. Another, now completely irrational is fear of foods, for sure. Completely irrational. Yeah, I don't think bananas or like pickles taste bad at all. Like I'll just eat, like they're fine. I don't. But for some reason, when I was younger, my dad thought it was funny to feed me foods that I did not like, because I would make funny faces, and then he just found it hilarious. So he would just do it. Like, here's a pickle, and I go. And he'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, dude, cool. Like give me a little fist bump or something. And now I just don't want that food at all. So like there's nothing wrong with those types of foods, obviously, but just like that negative experience sticking with you, yes, it's completely irrational, but I had such a bad time with it early on, and it just stuck there that I had no choice in ever approaching that demon of just eat a fucking banana, dude. You're fine. No one's gonna die. You're not gonna throw up.
Just don't like eating bananas.
I mean,
Phallic objects.
I
You mean you only describ 2 phallic objects?
What did I say? Bananas,
Pickles and
Bananas and pickles.
Okay, well, like I'm not sure. Let's work on this, okay?
Let's work on this.
Now, to clarify, my father did not take a full phallic banana and fucking put his finger on the end and fucking.
Okay, all right. We're talking real little. We're
Yeah,
talking
I
real
mean, he's still
little.
treating me like a fucking child, right? He probably cut a little corner off the side, and here you go. Like any child would. Like,
Okay.
I'm not like anything that is like 6-inch, like cylinder tubed type food, and go, oh my God, no, it's not happening. But I think it's like just the idea of being my father, who I trusted and still do trust to this day. Going, oh, here's something to eat. I go, oh, great. And I eat it. I go,
Gives you a lemon.
it gives me 11. I don't think he ever did that. But yeah, Picklesburg, dude, go fuck yourself. So
Irrational tit from your childhood.
thanks for moving on from me.
I got you, big dog.
Irrational.
You and your pickles.
I'm gonna reel back for 1 second and go to my earliest. My earliest memory was whenever I was a kid. It used to be whenever I was a kid and I went to open up someone's gift that was not mine. And it was basically like cousins and cousins of cousins. All of us are in a circle, like Christmas time or something like that. And those 2 cousins, it was their gift. But I'm so young, I just see, oh, here you guys go. And I'm sitting right next to them and I start opening it too. They're like, no, not you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? Like, you guys said it was for me and them, and now it's not, it's just for them. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, Jesus. But for a kid, you startle the kid. So to me, for a long time, that memory is my earliest because I had in my head that set of belief system. Oh, you need to hesitate so you don't make a fool of yourself. Contemplate whatever you do, and then sometimes it would turn into overanalyze until I got to a certain point where I could unlock a new memory. And by that point, this is showing everyone the cards of what we're actually doing here. But till I got to a point where I realized, oh no, I have an earlier memory than that. I have an earlier memory of going down Woods Run in Pittsburgh, going to the bank and the hardware store. Saw this lady at the laundromat, like on a billboard, wearing nothing but a barrel, completely naked, but wearing a barrel. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then, yeah, I'm going to skip the joke. But I also remember going to the bank. I got one of those orange or green suckers that has the little loop on it that you could put on your finger, one of those ones. And then we went to the hardware store right after. And then I remember it was either my dad or my grandfather was like, if you're good and you respect the tools, then you can have some M&Ms at the end. So, you know, I followed the process, respect the tools. I came across this woman, beautiful woman that was on a billboard and kind of sexualized, and also went to the bank, take care of your responsibilities. So I got responsibility, a little bit of like, you know, attraction, and a little bit of, you know, respect, but then a little bit of sweet at the end. You know, you put in, you be a good citizen, you do your due diligence, and then you reward yourself. So I'm like, wow, those carry a lot of the elements now today where I'm at. But the irrational ones I still carry, I would say that I still hold on to a feeling of not feeling worthy. And that stems back to, you know, you're catching up to your older brothers. It's not that I was dumb, not smart. It's just, you know, you have this lens that you walk around with where you feel like, oh, yeah, I need to work harder. I need to catch up to everybody. And it's like, Jesus, you don't really need to like overcompensate. Just do you. But that happened to me at Slippery Rock and CCAC. I immediately, when I walked in the class, I'm like, you're the dumb one. So work hard so you're not. And then I carried that even into jobs. Like, you need to work hard. You need to be better. So then that way, you're not the guy last in line. And then I kind of like put my heels to the ground eventually when I was like, oh, wait. I'm going to point over this way since no one's here. That guy's fucking up. You care and you're not fucking up. So, like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to actually kind of, like, digest that belief. And I still think it lingers, but, you know, I defend against that belief. Like, it's there. It's an automatic, irrational thought. Technical term is automatic negative thought, called an ant. So everybody has them. It's important to try to get rid of those. But my number one irrational belief is that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Meanwhile, there's nothing to say otherwise. I'm like, just defend yourself against that because it's not true.
Yeah. Damn, dude. What a freaking... Wow, that was a super sick analysis.
Oh, thank you.
I can't begin to imagine, like, sitting there and actually, like, having that awareness that young. Like, I can sit here and think of, like, wow, you know, I really feel a lot about what you're saying right now. I experienced myself, and I don't know if there was, like... I don't know if I could actually, right off the top of my head, I would have to take some time to really sit here and think of like when that might have happened for me too. Cause holy shit, dude, that is the not feeling worthy has definitely been something that I experienced heavily in my 20s. I definitely was not someone who thought that until I was in my 20s. Like, I constantly thought that I was worthy of being able to do this, worthy of being able to be the running back and not given the opportunity and shit like that. And to be able to have that awareness to like, nope, I believe it was on this day, on this time. That is fucking, that is some badass shit, dude.
I can't say that that was like an inciting incident, but it just reflects where my head was at.
Yeah.
And it can pull back. As I get older, I may remember earlier memories as my belief systems change.
Yeah. The freaking, wow. Incredible, though, dude. Because, yeah, mine was like, for me, mine was all about just going back to who I was, of just not giving a fuck what people thought of me. And that's a happy balance, because there has to be, you have to give some level of fucks about yourself, because not giving enough fucks about yourself or not loving yourself enough, you're not going to be able to love anything else. You're not going to be able to love anybody else. But that happy balance of where it's like, I love myself because this is who I am. This is my authentic truth, not the I love myself because I think I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. And that is a place where most people, in my opinion, will think that you're coming from the I think that I'm better than you, when you're being your most authentic self and just being that version of you. And so being able to just walk through that and go, no, I know who I am. I know what I'm bringing to the table. I'm not going to allow other people's analyzing of me to affect who I think of who I am. And that is something that I've had such a terrible time dealing with, but also overcoming. Is like, for instance, the job that I work at right now doesn't always make me feel like what I'm doing is really worthy, to the point where it's just like, then I start to question my own worth. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you're literally attaching your identity and yourself to a job. No. Reel that in. We got to figure something to better out, because that is not what we need to be doing here. So like, irrational thoughts, man, I really feel like I'm excited to give this a more deeper view for myself, just off of listening to you guys. Like, that one was, yeah, dude. Is someone coming up behind me? Like,
yeah, the big scary monster's still there, just took a different form.
Yeah, like,
it's so wild.
It's fascinating, like to look at it, and you're like, man, I was a little kid, and I thought it was this, Monsters Inc. bullshit.
Yeah.
And here it's taxes. Here it's I got to figure out how to do this mortgage. Oh, I got to figure out how to do finances. Oh, they didn't teach me any of this in school. I'm really glad that I know every single president. This is fantastic knowledge that I was going to use, So
wild.
Little Rock, Arkansas took me a far way.
Yeah, it's crazy your point on trying to be your most authentic self without worrying if people are thinking, is he trying to be better than me, or is he better than me? Like, it stinks, but the thought process I have there is like, you should just be as good as you're able to be. And if that makes you feel like I'm trying to one-up you, then that's not my fault. That's your problem to deal with.
I believe that. I believe that. And there was a guy who I like this, and I want to share it. Delulu is the solulu. Okay.
Okay.
So delusion is the solution.
Oh.
Okay. So literally living your life as you are delusional, as in all these things that I want to create, all these things that I want to do, will end up bringing the solution to you of how to be able to become those. And also, by continuing to be delusional, you're not allowing people's views to screw up your own view of yourself, because you're like, nah, I'm delusional. You can tell me
crazy,
what. Yeah,
dude.
I'm fucking crazy. You tell me whatever you want to tell me. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking Delulu is the Salulu.
Yeah, dude. If you're walking around saying that, like, people do know you're delusional. By the way. if you go, hey, dude, Delulu's the Salulu, they're like, yo, okay, this guy, you're right. You are 100% right. Whatever, dude. Goodbye.
And I think that actually might be the superpower in that whole situation of becoming your authentic self, is just by being so off the wall that these people are like, oh shit.
It's crazy. It's a belief system, but like the ignorance is bliss comes back into play. It's like the most ignorant people out there are the happiest people in the world.
Yeah.
It's just the lady driving down 30 miles under the speed limit and in the left lane, like, listen to a freaking John Mayer or whatever she's doing. Just She's living the greatest. I wish I was as happy as her in her fucking beautiful road she made for herself, not abiding by any freaking rules we laid out there as a society at all. You know? God damn, bro.
Left lane is for passing only, people.
Yeah, no. In her road, I'm the only one driving, so who the fuck am I passing?
Yes, exactly. In my delusional world, who am I passing?
I'm the only driver. Yeah. It's the same people that think like, oh, I'm stuck in traffic. No, you are the traffic. No, the traffic is in my way and no one else's. I'm the only person who needs to be somewhere. Fuck you.
That is 100. Yep.
Delulu.
Delulu is the Salulu, dude.
It's a lot of my customers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm the only person that exists. Yep, you and everybody else.
But there has to be a balance of that, like entitled thought process, because like you are entitled to things. You are. I mean, we've built our whole country off of like giving people the freedom and like the entitlement to go chase their dreams. So you are entitled to a lot, and then you allow people to tell you otherwise, and that's where you start to have breakdowns with like you said, being looked at negatively. I wrote that down and even say it, but like that was a huge struggle for me. Is like, am I going to get looked at negatively? And then looked at negatively stems into like so many different avenues of like, am I going to be looked at negatively because I'm not good enough? Am I going to be looked at negatively because I'm not shitty enough? Am I going to be negatively looked at because I'm not this or that? And it just goes in so many different avenues that, God, how do you wrap your head around that to the point where maybe I just don't need to give a shit at all? And honestly, just be myself as much as I can, but also balance in the understanding that there are other human beings. I need to be empathetic towards them. I need to understand that they have their lives too. But like, everyone would benefit from a little main character energy without being a douchebag.
The
Well
whole like going out and striving for your own stuff and doing that, I would think that in that process of actually going after and doing the stuff for yourself is where you would end up losing yourself in that the Lulu is the Salulu. And I think that it gives you an opportunity to be able to pull yourself out of the way, because I thought that I had to be this superhero type person, that I had to, and by your comments of the way that you're being viewed by other people, I thought that I needed to be liked by everybody. And honestly, every aspect of my life needed to be like I was a superhero.
Yeah.
To be able to, like, what I wanted to be was this inspirational person. And I know that that stems back to being young. And I kept thinking, like, I got to be perfect. Got to get all the grades perfect. Got to do this perfect. Got to go through life perfect. Got to do this, that. And I was so missing the whole point of the real inspirational person is the person who can articulate all of those emotions through those hardships, who can sit there and say, look, this is the shit that I was going through while becoming this person to be able to do this. Like, I looked at people like, you know, we'll bring him up in a very positive way here so that he gets some fluffer in his nutter. But my boy David Goggins, I look at him as thinking like, God, bro. This guy was like, you know, you don't have to see all of his backstory, but to see like the story that was portrayed of the story that was fully pushed out there, full narrative, not what actually was David Goggins going through and his own stuff, but like you see this like superhero almost put onto a pedestal of like, this guy was huge and now he's not huge and now he's just gonna go out and run 100 miles just because why the fuck not? And guy's got blisters on his feet and all kind of crazy shit, and he's telling you, just don't be a pussy. Just don't be a pussy. Just don't be a pussy. That's all he keeps saying is, don't be a little bitch. Don't be a little bitch. And you're like, all right, well, I can't be a little bitch. Like, if I want to be that guy, if I want to be that hard ass, like, I want to be that inspiration, can't be a little bitch. Can't be a little bitch. But in the process of, like, actually being a little bitch and showing all of those emotions that you go through, all of that, like, hardship, really being that emotional roller coaster that can take people on that ride of what it actually really felt like to experience all that, go through that hardship, accomplish that goal, is a whole different way to look at it.
Yeah.
Then I got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, I think that was one of my irrational beliefs that I definitely do not need to hold on to going forward is this: I have to be perfect to be able to be seen.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. So, okay, moving into a different part of it, thinking of like times where you may have sacrificed your childhood for a mission or purpose. Like, I feel like that kind of aligns with it too. Like, okay, like I'm able to set things aside to go after a higher goal. And like, I don't know if it's about compartmentalizing or like, any of those aspects, but like, do you think there's areas where you had to set aside your authentic self or your inner self to go after different missions? Or do you think that may have been done on purpose along the way? Or do you think there's even times that happen by accident and you didn't even realize it?
I think there's a lot of things that I've experienced in my life that I would sit here and like in my 20s think like, oh man, I made so many sacrifices. But in reality, they were things that maybe that I really didn't need to do, or that would have taken me down these avenues or pathways that wouldn't have led me to where I'm at right now. Like, for instance, the perfect example would be I really wanted to play hockey growing up, but I was really self-aware and I knew that my parents didn't have a lot of money. So I saw my best friend had a lot of money, fancy cars. We did not have fancy cars. We did not have a big house. I thought, nah, I don't want to put that burden on my family. Could have putting that burden onto my family changed things? Who knows? Could that have forced my dad to get a better job? These are just things that, like, I'm not sitting here saying like this is what needed to have happened, but you sit there and start to think of like, well, dude, you sacrificed yourself for something that you really wanted to do, something that you really wanted to experience. Could that have actually put people into a better place? Like, and I know this is so crazy to like, but like my dad had his, he had his college degree, he had all his stuff and everything and whatnot. And my dad was working multiple jobs because he had a kid at a young age. Okay. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of shit that could really be looked at here. But I'm just sitting here thinking like, this was something that I was dealing with of like, as far as when it comes down to the sacrifices that you make, I think I needed to finally get to a point of sacrificing any portion of me is pulling myself down to a level that I don't believe that I am. I believe that I'm at a higher level. I believe that I'm heading towards a higher level. And so by thinking that those people can't meet me at that level that I believe that I'm worthy of would be the shortcoming that I'm expressing, is I need to realize that I can become this, and by me becoming this, that shows people after me that they can become that. So whether it's not a direct stem to the people that I'm directly care about, the people that are my family, friends, that I'm hoping like, oh, will my shit touch these people? That has to go out the window, and you have to be focused on the fact of just you being this and believing that anybody could become this allows other people behind you to be able to come to that level.
Yeah.
And so were there things that I felt I sacrificed or for the greater good or the bigger mission? I don't really think there was really too much, man. My childhood, I'm one of those types of people that in my 20s, I had to spend some hard time finding the gratitude for my childhood because I didn't have the same childhood as people that I know. I have both my parents still. My parents constantly talked about breaking up and divorcing, but never did. My parents have been a perfect example. I shouldn't say perfect. That's a bold statement. But my parents have been a fantastic, epic example of what a relationship really is. Everybody counted my parents out. They said because they had kids young, they got married young, that they were never going to last. And my parents have lasted. They've stayed together. And they've shown me what a true relationship is. A relationship is not every time there's a hard step or a hardship that it's, oh, find the reason. This is the reason why I'm not supposed to be with this person. This is the reason why I'm not supposed to be with this person. Every time you come to one of those hard steps when you're with that other person, those are perfect timings that give you the opportunity to see what you guys are capable of accomplishing and becoming together and raising each other up to that next level. So whether that's a significant other, whether that's a sexual relationship, whether that's a family relationship, whether that's a brother, sister, brother, any type of relationship you could imagine, friend to friend, if you are looking at that as if that person cannot raise up to your level, then that is like you're robbing that person of any opportunity.
It's so cool that the belief system that you're trying to build for yourself was saying that, like, I just want to do this for myself, but the hope is that believing so hard in myself will get me there and also show other people that they can believe in themselves, is exactly what your parents did for the relationship, which is like, literally everyone told us this is not going to work out at all. Everything is stacked against us, societal norms, what people are telling us, every hardship we deal with, but we just believe in it so fucking much that we're just going to go after it and prove it anyway. It's really cool because it helped you build a belief system for yourself too without even realizing it.
Not even realizing it.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah.
Until actually you reiterating that for me.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was cool. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you be, what are the things that you felt might have sacrificed for the greater good or experiences?
I mean, I said it earlier, but I do feel like I had to be an adult pretty quickly. So I felt like a lot of my childhood was hijacked into being like this, like, found myself in the middle a lot. Like I was like kind of a middle child. Also found myself as like when my parents divorced as the older child, like kind of being like there to like protect my little brother and try to take on that. And my parents would acknowledge both that they probably put me in unfair positions during their divorce of like me communicating because they didn't want to communicate with each other for them and just like a lot of things. So, you know, whether it's that, whether it's like going to a restaurant, I remember so many times and messing with my stepsisters because they don't care. But like, I think of like when we would go to dinner and I would like, my brother and I would always order like the cheapest thing. Like we'd even like, we're told to do that. We would just like, okay, like I don't want to spend too much money, so I'll just get the cheeseburger. And then like my youngest stepsister Shayla would walk in like, I'll have those. She's like 7. She's like, I'll have the filet mignon, like medium well, and like, you know, I want like this side and that side. And then she'd eat 3 bites. Like, cool, I'm done. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, you can do that.
And a Coke.
Yeah, and a Coke. Yeah, no, I couldn't even get Coke. God forbid. Like milk. My dad. So that was a financial decision that I never did understand from my dad because the milk was not a free refill option. So my dad rather just allowed me 1 glass of cold milk than unlimited refills on you know, soda or something like that, which I never understood. I was always thirsty after, but I think he just wanted me to have you know, calcium, strong bones, whatever it is, and I broke both my wrists like the next week after at the same time. So, joke's on you, Dad. But I just think a lot of it was like trying to find the room to allow myself the ability. And it's funny because you just brought it up when we were talking about giving advice to your younger self, but allowing your younger self to give advice to yourself. And I think just as much as I would tell my younger self to find room to be a child while you have the chance, I think that's exactly what I should be doing for myself right now. Because I just found a lot of those times, like, I find myself worried about, like, you know, the way I was brought up and not falling into those pockets of, like, I'm sure my parents would want me to be in a better relationship than they were. And, like, luckily I am right now. And, like, those pockets you mentioned of your parents were, like, those hard steps where it's, like, I'm just looking for the reason to not be with that person. Every time that's come up in my current relationship, it has given me a reason to exactly do the opposite. It's been, this reaffirms why I'm with this person. Everything that's hard, we talk through it and we feel better about it after, even if it's the toughest conversation. So I think as I'm getting older, like looking for those pockets to like be a kid, like if I tried to imagine what that looked like, you know, because it was hijacked so early on. And it's like, I just think of like going to Dave and Buster's with Brandon, but like, okay, I can't do that every day. I think we would get sick of it pretty quickly, but like finding those pockets where like, okay, all the responsibility that I had thrown at me pretty early on that really hasn't wavered in any way. Like I had a job since I was 16. I worked full time through college and went to college and got a degree and pretty paid for everything along the way by myself. My books, my gas, my food, everything I paid for myself. So like from very early on, and not that I wouldn't have support. I think my dad did a good job, like allowing me the space to build a life for myself. And I try to look at it that way as opposed to like, kick, boot in the ass, get out the door, see you later. Like that didn't happen. I lived at home through college. So like I was still offered a lot of things. So I think like as far as like sacrificing, I definitely did a lot of sacrificing early on that I probably don't acknowledge. So moving forward, the idea would be to regain some of that power back. Be easy with myself, allow myself the pockets of, creative freedom to go out and learn things I want to learn or go do things I didn't get the chance to do. And that's a lot of it. Like I am proud of myself because I get to do that. Like we'll have a bike trip where we're gone for 4 days. And like, I love that. Like that's something that I loved in my life growing up where like my dad would take us out on my bikes and now we like build a whole podcast around like you and I having conversations on our bikes and brought our buddy along the way. Like those are really cool pockets for me to allow to express myself where I wouldn't have been able to do that when I was younger because I just didn't have the freedom to do so.
Dude, what a full circle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Pretty
Cool as
cool.
fuck.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon?
So when we were writing this, I was like, how do I put these out without undermining how blessed a childhood I had? I'm like, so I filtered out a lot of things that I was thinking like, you get sacrifice, you go. I think we all have that common sacrifice where we go to school and we have the whimsical child beaten out of us, especially Catholic school. Like, love it, wouldn't change it, but you are silenced. You are made to behave. You do not make any noise. If you do, you're being the bad student, bad kid, all this shit. But I think one of the better examples is like you're talking about your 20s. My 20s provided for me the exact example of that I want to illustrate. When I was in my 20s, I had a job. If you go through the episodes, you'll be able to find out what school I went to. But I won't connect the dots for you. I had a job where that job paid for school. Loved that job. Went back to them week after week. What do I got to do to keep the job? What do I got to do this, that? I had another job, but this one pays for me to actually get my tuition paid for and gives me an extra class. So I'm all about it. That childhood curiosity, you want to keep that. So then one day comes, I've helped them along the way, done a fantastic job. Everybody's telling me what a good job. They have me do this interview day where I help bring students in. What do? They interview someone to replace me because not all the faculty members talked. So here comes Brandon. He's the one who's getting punished. And I'm like, wait, you guys, I have an email. It's in writing. Like, you guys offer me the job. Oh, well, we have an incoming student. They need that job too. And it's like, it wasn't theirs to give. Like, it was already my job.
Yeah.
So then I still have 2 more years of, do I make a big stink about this? Or do I, swallow my pride, just try to get through to the end of the 2 years because my clients are on the other end waiting for me. And that's my whole purpose is I want to make people's lives better. Do I sit here and cry about it? Do I make a big stink? Do I actually overturn it, force them to present and create a job for me? And I'm like, yeah, but how would that do when you're trying to work with your teachers for these next 2 years? How do you think that's going to go over? And I was like, it's going to suck. I'm going to have to be the person who is the bigger person, and I'm just getting shit on. So I guess I'm going to get shit on, and now I have the higher purpose of trying to get to the end of the line, and I'd be a liar if I said that it didn't put a bad taste in my mouth about psychology. And I'm like, you guys kind of ruined something I'm really passionate about. So got through the end of the line, had quite a few experiences in between, saw a lot of fucked up shit, and it made me think, you know what, maybe this isn't the line of work for me. But I had to give that sacrifice of that age-old, be the good kid, don't make too much noise. And I'm like, honestly, part of me thought about quitting just to fuck up the retention rates. And I was like, you guys want to fuck me here? Fuck you back. But yeah, I feel like I had to sacrifice myself, my ego, my pride, looking back, my self-respect, If I had more self-respect in that situation, I would say, fuck that, I'm transferring. But I did have a love for my school, very passionate. And I feel like that aged me in a way. Kind of calloused me for a while, made me feel like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about them. I don't want to do them any more favors. I'm done with this shit outside of class helping. I still did, but I'm like, you guys just ruined this for me. Like I was, in my opinion, I'd go, I'd go like to the end of the earth for you guys, ride or die. And then they're like, no, die. No more riding. Like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Dude, having that type of awareness at that age, like now being able to look back and like connect those dots. Dude, is there really any type of like situation that you couldn't go through now? It's
No.
like having that type of awareness at that age to be able to be the bigger person and not create a stink.
Yeah, I could have caused a whole lawsuit. I could have been like, you guys owe me thousands of dollars because I have it in writing. This job is still my job. But I was experiencing a strong sense of cognitive dissonance. And for anyone listening, we did mention what it was in an earlier episode. But basically, acting one way, but your beliefs reflect a different way. So I'm like, I'm worthy of this. It's so funny. That's actually, I didn't even think about that till now. I'm like, I'm worthy of this, damn it. And you guys took it from me.
Yeah.
So you're literally the belief, the main belief that's my most irrational belief, that is my most crippling, you guys are reinforcing right now. And I'm having to separate myself from that, which we've talked about third order meaning making, which you kind of hinted towards earlier today, of like, I am not my job. I am me. I am not that thing, that label. I am me. And for them, it was fucked up because I was like, you guys are making it seem like I'm not worthy. If I'm worthy, you guys would make room and basically be like, whatever faculty member hired them fucked up. I think I know which one did it. And that's a whole student affairs versus, counseling dichotomy. You're not us, we're not you, but we want all the things that you have and offer.
Oh, Jesus.
So it was like a unspoken rivalry that never should have been. But for me, I'm like, I know what happened. You guys were prioritizing certain people over others. And I got stepped on and I didn't make any noise.
So what beliefs, what parts of your inner child do you still bring with you today, good or bad?
I'd say the compassion, curiosity, playfulness. I really like curiosity. Like I think the three of us share a similar thing. We like to understand how things work, what makes things like, how things work and what makes things, I don't think tick is the right word, but what sets things off. I really enjoy dissecting things, simple things, and figuring out how they function. So I think the part of me, I really just want to know how people think, how things work, and how people and things work together. Like, I think for me, my biggest thing is movies are like my lifeblood because I really like to see growth, change, and I like to be lazy and sit on the couch and let someone else do it.
Yeah, I think for me, there's a couple of things. I think humor is something that brings it out. Like I come from a family that just likes to shoot the shit, have fun at each other's expenses, have fun at their own expense. It's just something that I carry with me that still makes me feel like a kid again. I think love for sports, or like even just through different avenues of like, whether it's a spectator or my job or just even getting out, like for I mentioned our trip or whatever, like leading those things are huge for me. One that's like in the middle ground, you guys both mentioned, but like outspokenness, like Brandon knows that I just didn't know how to keep my mouth shut for a very long time. But there's a balance of that occurring with me where it's like, I definitely want to speak for injustice. I want to speak for the people who can't speak for themselves or speak for myself when I feel like I'm being wronged, but doing that in a kosher way and not in a way that puts you in shitty positions. My dad always told me my mouth would get me in trouble. So I've gotten pretty far with it not getting me in trouble. I've picked my pockets pretty well. So I think the idea is to kind of lean into that. But, you know, I just want to give myself the freedom, like, especially now because I am, you know, I look at myself as a pretty strong individual. Like, while I have a great support system, I don't need much from other people. So the hope is to lean more into, you know, giving myself the freedom to chase the things I want to do that maybe I wasn't able to do when I was younger. So like you said, like that curiosity, that desire to go chase the true self, you know, who I actually am, and allowing myself the space to do it is important. So I don't know if, you know, I allowed myself that as a kid. So it's something I definitely want to lean into in the future. But I think just as I look for those rooms or those areas to grow in, I think it is leaning into like the things I've carried this far into my life. Like if I'm 32 and I'm still doing this and I've been doing it for 25 years. It's something obviously that is a foundation of who I am. So I just want to make sure I'm leaning into like the hobbies, the fun, the activities I like to do, the people I like to be around as much as I can, but also the bad of making sure that I'm not like worried too much about what people think of me or being perfect every time or worried about what's next. Like get rid of those bad aspects of my childhood and lean more into what the good parts are.
It's a freaking solid foundation, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know how much else you could add to that foundation.
that's why I stopped talking.
All right, for me, I would say carefree, who gives a fuck what you think of me type of mentality needs to be this version of me going forward. And it's funny because I was okay with being different, but I was not okay with being made fun of or not liked. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Like, you're okay with being different, but then you're not okay with people making fun of you because you're different. Like, okay, not making fun of you because you're different, that's like, all right, a whole different thing. But allowing that to actually, like, affect you, that's the piece of the puzzle. Like,
Yeah.
Are they in the wrong? More than likely. But you allowing it to stem into you like it's a root, that's no bueno.
Yeah.
No bueno. And I would say massive dream potential and big picture painter. Big picture painter are something that I need to continue to, like, really, really hone into. Like, for instance, at like the itinerary for the bike trip, like being able to like go out there, put together a trip, put together the idea that's painting the picture of what we would do, and then other people would be like, "This is great, dude. I love everything about it. I want to experience that. Sure, I did not even know that was a possibility. So let's paint it, dog."
Mhm.
And so that would be the two for me. I would say my piece. I'm gonna jump on you. I'm gonna jump before you guys. My piece to end this episode. I gotta find it real quick because I want to phrase it exactly how I had it phrased. When you try to start rebuilding yourself, your life, your existence into who you want to be. When you try to rewrite history, no one will sharpen the pencil for you. Make your own ink. It'll save you time. That's mine.
Damn.
Well said, too.
Do you understand the position you just put us in? See, this like well thought out like idea. It sounded really good. You did a great job articulating it. And now Brandon and I are just like,
How do I come up with something philosophical and deep like that?
get out there and take your pants off, run around naked sometime. You hear?
Bingo.
Laughs the garden, dig it.
Life's a garden. Dig it, baby.
Hashtag Joe Dirt.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, y'all. This was a fantastic episode on Inner Child. Would your 10-year-old self be proud today? All right, y'all. We got Derry. We got Brandon. We got myself, Zach. And the squad here, as always, says, don't trust us. Trust yourself. Unless it comes to women, Titty's got some good ones. I'm going to say that again because that was that was funny from the last episode. All right, y'all. We appreciate you guys riding with us. As always, thanks for listening. Take care.
Later.
Thank you, guys.
Don't hesitate to catch the gang's next release, episode 43, Storytelling. Why do we turn everything into a story? Everything? Everything. Let's give you 2 little sneak peek episode outline questions for the next release. Question number 1. If your life is a movie or a book, what kind of movie or book is it? Question number 2. If your life was a movie, past or present, what time period makes for the most compelling? What elements of that story made it good? Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one.